everyone, it's time for another creepy video, and for tonight's creepy video I'm going to be talking about, I believe it's a Malaysian urban legend or myth or whatever you want to call it, and it's called a Pontianak. Because you guys know how horrible I am at pronouncing big words, so I apologize if I just butchered that. A Pontianak is a ghost of a woman who has either died while they were pregnant or they died during childbirth. It's mainly based in Malaysia and Indonesia. They are said to stay around swamps, forests, and banana trees. During the day, it is said that they will stay hidden in banana trees and keep their appearance beautiful. Their actual appearance, however, is said to be really pale skin, red eyes, long black hair, really long sharp fingernails, and a white dress that is sometimes seen with splotches of blood on it. Of the night, she hunts for her prey, and she usually goes after men. She can pretty much change her appearance, so I guess she's sort of almost like a shapeshifter, but not really. She can just change the way that she looks. And once she seduces a man into going with her as this beautiful young woman, when they least expect it, she changes back into this ugly creature. She is known to stick her long fingernails into their stomach and gouge out all of their internal organs. She also drinks their blood, and it is also said that she can even suck out their eyes. So disturbing. So the main reason why she usually tends to go after men is because they say that she died a violent death when, she was giving birth to her child or before she gave birth to her child, and she's grieving the loss of her child, and so therefore she's angry and she tends to take that out on men for some reason. It doesn't really make sense to me why she tends to take all of her anger out on men, because in a way it's not their fault that she died, unless like a man killed her or something, then I could see it. But if she didn't die from a man killing her, like, I don't understand why it's men that she goes after. So when the Pontianak is close, you will hear the sound of a baby crying, and when this crying is kind of loud, it means that she's near, but she's not really close to you. She's still kind of far away. And whenever this sound is more faint, it means that she's closer to you. Also, another sign that the Pontianak is around is you will hear the sound of dogs howling. If you hear the dogs very loudly howling, it means that she's close, but she's not really close. And if you hear the dogs whimpering, that means she's very close. When she's beautiful, it is said that she smells like a nice floral fragrance, kind of like perfume. And then when she turns into this ugly creature, her smell changes to like a decaying, dead body stench. In the Indian version of the story, it is said that the way you can tell this spirit of this woman is a Pontianak is if her feet are turned backwards, and it is said to do that right before her transformation into this horrible creature. Another way she can find you is if you leave your laundry hanging up outside of the night. And because of this reason, many Malaysian people bring their clothes in of the night. They won't leave them hanging out because they're afraid that the Pontianak will find them. The Indonesian Pontianak is said to take the form of a bird. Now this bird will go around and suck the blood from virgins and also young women. The bird will make a k sound when it flies, and I hope I'm doing that right, but that's what I kind of pictured in my head. When a man approaches this woman, she turns around to show him that her back is hollow. Now, it is said that the only way you can stop this vengeful spirit of the Pontianak is if you take the nail out of the back of her neck, or at least the head of the nail out of the back of her neck. It's also said that you can even stick your finger in the hole of the back of her neck, which is very weird to me. Like, I don't know who would want to get close enough to her to do that? But if you do this, she will show her true form and she will turn back into this hideous creature that she was. If it remains inside, however, she will still look like a beautiful woman and like a normal person. Now, there is a ritual that can be done on pregnant women who died a violent death by a Dukin, and this is just to prevent her from turning into a Pontianak. So I have a very interesting story of something that happened to me a couple of years ago. I believe it was in, I want to say 2014, 2015-ish. It was a while back there, but it wasn't that far. I probably have talked about this on my channel before, but it kind of reminded me of this story. Now, I'm not saying that this is what this was, because more than likely it was just a wild animal, but I just thought it was strange and I thought that I would go ahead and share it with you guys. So one summer, I was sitting outside of the night reading a book on our porch. Now, I know it's strange. You could be thinking, Melanie, why were you sitting outside in the night? But then again, if you're on my channel, then you probably know I'm weird and I like darkness. I like scary things. So I kind of think it's peaceful to sit out on the porch of the night in the summer and read. And that's exactly what I was doing. I believe it was around like 7 or 8 in the evening. And it might have been a little bit later than that because it was like fully dark. And in our neighborhood, there is this really creepy like holler filled of trees. That's what we call it here in West Virginia. I don't know what anyone else would call it, but to me it's a holler. So we have this holler where I live and it's filled with trees and it's pretty much just like a dark forest. And of the nighttime, it's really spooky because there are no lights up through there. It's just completely dark and you don't know what you would be walking into, say you were to walk up in there. And I have made a few videos up there before. I think I've done a few EVPs with my dad. I made a short horror film with Slender Man up in there. I love this forest, but of the night it's very spooky. So I was sitting outside minding my own business reading this book, and all of a sudden I just hear this loud whimpering sound. It almost sounded like a kid. Like, it sounded like a kid was up there making some sort of noise, playing something, or like a baby crying. And that's why I said it kind of reminded me of this story. And it sounded like it was getting closer and closer and closer, and it was starting to freak me out. So I stopped for a minute and I'm like, this is so weird. So I went to my door and I told my dad to come outside for a second. He came outside and I said, listen, what is this noise? At the time, there were little kids in a family living up there because there are 2 houses, but I was like, why are they letting their kids out at this time of night? Like, it's so late and like by themselves playing, you know, whatever. Like, it just sounded dangerous to me. I brought my dad outside and he was listening to it too. And we were kind of going to my backyard because from where I was on the front porch and this holler is close to my backyard. So me and my dad decided to walk a little bit around to our backyard. We didn't fully go back there because if it was some sort of like wild animal or something, like we didn't want it to attack us because it sounded like it may have been hungry or something. I don't really know. We went around and we just stood there and we listened, and like I said, it just sounded like it was getting closer and closer, and it was starting to freak me out. So me and my dad decided it was probably best to go back inside, and like I said, it was coming from up there in that holler. I don't know if I mentioned that, but yeah, it was coming from this dark, spooky holler with no lights. And like I said, I'm not saying that this is the Pontianak because it's mainly in like Malaysia and Indonesia where it happens, but I just thought it was weird. It reminded me of the story, and so I thought that I would share it with you guys. But it was kind of weird. My dad also mentioned that it kind of sounded like the banshee to him, and I believe that I made a banshee video. I have mentioned this on my channel a few times before, but around this time I also seen a white figure standing on the side of the road that looked really strange, and if I can find that video I'll leave it in the description because I don't think I should have to repeat myself. I think I've told it in some videos of mine before. But anyways, he thought it might have been the banshee, but I think it might have just been like, you know, a wild animal. I do believe that the figure that I seen on the side of the road was something paranormal, but the cry and the holler, like I kind of think it was just like a mountain lion or a coyote or something like that, because I know that whenever they're hungry or they're little, they can kind of sound like a baby crying. But it was just really strange, and I thought that I would share that story with you guys. So yeah, that was pretty much this entire video. What do you guys think about the Pontianak? I think she's really spooky. I understand though why she takes out her anger specifically on men, because it's not their fault that she died during childbirth. It's not their fault that she died while she was pregnant. Unless they murdered her before she could see her baby, then I would see why. But it just doesn't make sense to me why she would specifically go after men, you know what I mean? But regardless, she sounds really spooky. So let me know what you think. And I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please give me a big old thumbs up. Subscribe to my channel if you have not already and become a morbid maniac. And if you're new to my channel, hello, my name is Melanie and I upload creepy videos every Saturday. So be sure to stick around and I will see you guys in my next video. Indonesian. The Indonesian. Mom, I'm filming.
Pregnant unless... Quit! You okay? Quit!
My child's acting up. I'm sorry.